Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word. Well, after the chaos that was Friday, I thought things might just quieten down a little bit for qualifying, but they certainly did not. 2 hours that session lasted in the end. What a weekend it's been so far. But before I get on to some reaction from the session and the talking points, let's have a quick look at the provisional result. Valtteri Bottas will be starting tomorrow's race from pole position ahead of teammate Lewis Hamilton, just 6/100ths of a second between them in the end. Sebastian Vettel will start third for Ferrari in another Saturday of missed opportunities. Seb, by the way, is saying that no toe was a huge contributing factor to the fact he was only third, and it looks as though Mercedes may have played a blinder with their practice starts in air quotes at the end of the pit lane just before their final runs. That meant, of course, that Sebastian Vettel ended up running alone. Max Verstappen ended the session fourth and so therefore will start fourth with Sergio Perez in fifth and Daniel Kvyat in sixth. Lando Norris once again this season making the top 10 shootout for McLaren. He's 7th, and although Antonio Giovinazzi did qualify in 8th, he will take a 10-place penalty after taking his third set of control electronics this weekend. But for what it's worth, he did out-qualify his teammate Kimi Raikkonen, who was 9th and will get promoted obviously to 8th. And Charles Leclerc is only 10th place after crashing out in Q2, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video. Carlos Sainz finished today in 11th place ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in 12th and Alexander Albon in 13th. Kevin Magnussen only down in 14th place for Haas, whereas their pace gone on a Saturday. Big surprise. Pierre Gasly ended up 15th today, but will obviously start from the pit lane tomorrow after his Weybridge cock-up in FP2. Lance Stroll once again poor form on a Saturday in 16th. The second Haas of Romain Grosjean only 17th. And Nico Hülkenberg right down there in 18th. Renault have struggled for pace pretty much all weekend. And finally, for the result, as you would pretty much expect, both the Williamses are at the back with George Russell 19th and Robert Kubica 20th, and I'll talk briefly about him a little bit later in the video as well. So then, despite claiming that they had no pace to match Ferrari, Mercedes have once again locked out the front row for tomorrow's race. Are we really surprised? After the session, Toto Wolff did say that he didn't think the Silver Arrows stole the pole from Ferrari and actually thinks it was down to the session running later, and then that in turn allowed the track conditions to come to them. As for his drivers though, Valtteri Bottas said after the session that it was the tow he received from Lando Norris on his final lap that was the deciding factor between qualifying P1 and qualifying P2. I am really happy for pole. It is a nice feeling to get it on the last lap. It was a nice last lap and Ferrari have been really strong. Obviously Charles is out with a mistake, but as a team we did a really good job to be where we are now after such a difficult practice. It is all about small margins, and I did get a good tow on that last lap. Of course, the corners I have to drive as well. It is all about small details and I managed to hit the sweet spot. His teammate Lewis Hamilton has said that he is surprised to be on the front row and appeared to back up Sebastian Vettel's claims that the lack of tow on the German's final run was critical in the end. Honestly, I did not think I would be on the front row today. I'm always hopeful, but the Ferraris were showing pace we couldn't really truly match. I don't know what happened to Seb. I think he didn't get a tow, which was where he was missing out, as that's worth 4 or 5 tenths. Look, I'm going to be completely honest, I really don't know what to say on Mercedes. Every weekend they come out and tell us that they have no pace, they will struggle and Ferrari are comfortably the team to beat. Yet, here we are again. The thing is though, this time around I guess it did look as though Ferrari had it in the bag. So, although I can see Toto Wolff's point about how the track came to them, and if you throw into that mix the fact that they did play a very good game at the end of Q3 to get Bottas that tow from Norris, I still feel as though this is one that Ferrari threw away. Hey, I might be wrong. In fact, based on past predictions, I probably am. Perhaps Merc have got an extra special party mode that nobody knows about yet. Maybe it was just a case of the cooler track suiting them more. Whatever you believe though, the Silver Arrows are making sure that they are there to take advantage of anything that falls their way and they absolutely deserve credit for that. They're not going to get it, but they do. The big question is though, will it be a 4th consecutive 1-2 finish come the end of the race tomorrow? All I'm going to say on that is I doubt it because if the last 2 seasons have taught us anything, nothing is a guarantee in Baku. Now prior to Q2 it looked as though Charles Leclerc was set for pole position, however on his second run he locked up his left front on the run to turn 8 and ploughed straight into the wall. A fairly hefty impact to be fair, and that was it for his session. That obviously saw the session stopped as his car was recovered and repairs were carried out to the barriers, and over team radio he called himself stupid, and in an interview with Sky F1 he stated, "I don't want to say anything stupid, but I think after FP1, FP2 and FP3 and Q1, pole was possible today and I throwed all the potential in the bin. I'm very disappointed and I will come back stronger from this. I've been stupid. I will push to learn from this and come back stronger and hopefully have a very good race tomorrow. For the next 3 or 4 hours, I will be beating myself up." It really was a shame for Leclerc. He looked so good up to that point. But it's a mistake at the end of the day and these things do happen. I sometimes feel like reading a lot of stuff on social media, it gets forgotten that he's only in his second season in F1 and only his fourth race for Ferrari. Does that mean he is immune to criticism? No, of course not. He made a mistake and has taken full responsibility for that. Again though, it's one mistake, and so I'm not going to come down and slam him for it. It would be a very different story if this had happened at every weekend so far, and it will be a very different story if it happens at the next few races. But for now, no, it's a mistake. One thing is for sure though, it's going to be fantastic to see him fighting his way back through the field tomorrow. That is definitely going to give us some action at least. He wasn't the only driver in the wall at turn 8 though. Towards the end of Q1, Robert Kubica hit the wall on corner entry and slammed his Williams into the barrier, almost in exactly the same spot as Leclerc actually. That brought out the red flags and led to a fairly long delay between the first two sessions. Not a great weekend for Williams all in all, and if any team could do without all of this, it is definitely them. George Russell obviously had to move to his third chassis after that incident with the drain cover in FP1 on Friday, and Kubica's car is going to need a fair number of repairs. Now, Williams have said, by the way, that they do in fact have enough spares to fix Robert's car. I know there was some who were wondering if that was the case, but I tell you what, it's a busy night for them. So who was my standout performer then from qualifying? Well, there were a few to choose from, including Daniel Kvyat in what looks like a very rapid Toro Rosso, and Antonio Giovinazzi, who out-qualified teammate Kimi Raikkonen today, but of course, as I said earlier, will take a 10-place grid drop. Frankly, I have to go with Sergio Perez. Racing Point have looked to have solid pace all weekend, well, with Checo at least, but I did not expect to see them make the top 5. Alright, yes, I know, Gasly didn't take part in Q2, and Leclerc didn't get a run in Q3 and all of that, but he would still have been head of that midfield. I mean, what is it with Perez and Baku? He seems to absolutely love it there. Podium in 2016, podium in 2018, could he be on for another podium this weekend? He'll need some luck, absolutely, but he's put himself in a great position to capitalise on any chaos ahead. On to my race one to watch then, and as you've probably already guessed, I'm obviously going to go with Pierre Gasly. He has got a mammoth task ahead of him, but as he showed in Q1 when he topped the timesheets, there is some very, very good pace in that Red Bull. He also focused on race setup during FP3, which could well benefit him massively. I feel like if he's going to trouble the podium places, he's going to need at least 1 or 2 safety cars, but surely he can make his way back through the field to finish in 6th place. I think that's the minimum we've come to expect from a Red Bull driver out of position. He's not the only one to keep an eye on though. Charles Leclerc has got some overtaking to do, as I've already touched on. Both the Hasses are, I would say, out of position, certainly based on what we've come to expect over the last few races. And I'm actually going to throw in Alex Albon as well. That Toro Rosso does look quick, and as we saw in China, he is more than capable of making up places. Honestly, hand on heart, I cannot wait for the race tomorrow because it should be an absolute cracker. Fingers crossed. That is it then for this video, and in the comments section down below, let me know your thoughts on today's qualifying session, and you can also let me know your predictions for tomorrow's race. Now, I will be back tomorrow with the race watch along, and then shortly after that I'll be live with Chamber again for some immediate race reaction. Hopefully, this week there's going to be plenty to talk about. In the meantime though, you can follow me over on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.